suffer with sickle cell. We have tonight with us Stephanie George and your sister
Jennifer. Yeah.
Introduce yourselves, ladies.
Yeah. Hi everyone at home. So I'm Stephanie George. I have sickle cell and I am a midwife with the NHS. And then I don't know what else. What else would you like me to say? Is there anything else you want me to add, or just that?
Yeah, that's cool.
Go on, Jen.
Hi everyone, I'm Jennifer. I'm a fashion graduate, fashion styling and creative direction. I also have sickle cell anemia.
Okay, so this might sound like a really weird question. Are you twins or sisters? Because I can see you guys. Not twins.
No, not twins.
No, just sisters. Okay, you see, I don't want to say, oh, are you guys identical twins? Because you didn't. So who's older? Sorry.
I am.
Stephanie's older.
7 years older. Wow.
Yeah. I know, we do get twins all the time though.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, you twins? And we're like, no.
We don't really think we look that much alike, no. But I guess
a little bit now that I'm seeing it as we're looking at it. I can see where people are coming from. But yeah, no.
You both have blood transfusions. Are you part of the?
Just me.
Just you.
Yeah.
Sickle cell, you both have SS?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so let me get started. How would you say health inequalities towards sickle cell patients?
Connect to your Wi-Fi network.
I'm so
you
sorry. Alexa, read that. I'm so sorry.
Right, okay.
Connect to your Wi-Fi network. You can set up instructions in the help section of your Alexa app.
Okay, so how would you say health inequalities towards sickle cell patients have affected this particular demographic? So how would you say it affects yourself?
So obviously, you know, sickle cell itself, having it is a roller coaster, as I always like to say, because I think that's the best way to describe it. But then having an illness that people, you know, kind of categorize as a Black illness, I think it's kind of hard sometimes because certain people are like, well, that doesn't affect, you know, our demographic. So it's not something that we need to really be worried about. So I think, you know, that label itself, I think it also like automatically puts us in a, like at a disadvantage, because people think, oh, because it only affects Black people, or, you know, so then it's kind of their problem. And obviously sickle cell doesn't just affect Black people. Like, you know, yes, it's not common in other demographics, but it does affect them too. So, you know, it's a worldwide problem, not just a Black people problem.
Is this something you have seen as a midwife in hospital settings? Where
you do think, you know, obviously, yes, as I said, you know, a lot of people that I know have sickle cell are, you know, all Black, but it is something that I think we need to bear in mind, that obviously, you know, with all the, you know, interracial dating and everything like that, you do see people who, you know, some people who are mixed race or like fair skin, they do say, oh, you know, when you do their blood tests and stuff and they come out as trait, you know, sickle cell trait, and they're like, oh my God, I didn't even know that I could have that because of, you know, maybe my mum is white and my dad is Black, or so, but it's all of that stuff that I think, you know, obviously me being in my job, I have seen stuff like that. I haven't seen anyone have sickle cell who's, you know, white or maybe Asian. I haven't seen it personally myself, but I think, you know, I know definitely that it is, you know, other people do have it.
What about you, Jennifer? Have you seen it in the fashion world? You say you're a fashion student, or you're?
I'm a fashion graduate, so it's, I would say in the fashion world, it's not really something that's discussed. Like, for example, obviously because of Stephanie, she works in the NHS, that's something that she's gonna come across, but in the fashion world, no one really discusses it. They don't really talk about it. It's kind of, you know, you just deal with whatever you have going on and kind of keep it to yourself. But I guess that's also a narrative you know, we're fighting to change. Like I want to just, you know, we want to put our art out into the world. So obviously into the fashion world, so people know about it. So there's stuff that we can do to raise money and raise awareness with it. But it's not, like I said, it's not something that's really discussed in the fashion world.
Okay. So while you were studying, did you come up against any inequalities? Would you say you had any problems while studying in your uni, in college, with your lecturers, with your teachers? Did you have any biases towards you?
Yeah, okay. So primary school is great. I think primary school is where you get the most support, because, you know, I had letters from consultants, and it's like they took the time out to support you, you know, give you regular breaks and stuff. I think secondary school was harder because it just feels you're a little bit more independent.
Yeah.
But then it also, sometimes it's just, you know, harder because obviously you're, you know, in your teenage years, you want to start doing things that other people are doing, but you might not be able to do it because of your health.
Yeah.
And then I found secondary school hard. Uni, it was kind of like you do what you want. Like, you come to lectures if you want to, you don't come to lectures if you don't want to. At the end of the day, it's your responsibility. While
teachers were educated about sickle cell.
Well, to be honest, I don't know, because no, not really.
Think so,
no,
no.
Because even in uni, pardon?
You have to educate them, or your parents, or as you said, you received letters from your consultants, but
yeah,
that's taken so far.
Yeah.
You have to then go for. I remember being in primary school and teachers still sending me out to play after my mum's told them if it rains, she can't go outside.
Yeah.
And they're still sending you out. My mum having to come down to school every day, complain to teachers. It was constant. And it's just like, does she have to tell you this all the time? I can't go out in the cold. And I look like a problem child because I'm refusing to go outside.
Yeah.
You have to constantly re-educate them on what was happening with your health condition.
Especially in I think in secondary school, obviously there'd be times we'd have to wear our scarves and, you know, maybe sit a bit closer to the heater, make sure we're really hydrated. And then obviously, because our scarves weren't part of the school uniform, then the teachers are now complaining, oh, if you're not going to take it off, then you need to get out. I'm just like, okay, well, you can have that discussion with my parents. It's not going to go down well. There's a reason why this is happening. It's obviously for my health and for my safety. So, I mean, our parents fought hard. If there was stuff like that was happening, and we would tell them, they weren't going to take it lying down because there's a reason for it. It's not just that we're trying to be, you know, problematic or difficult. Like, even in college as well, I remember there was times, like, especially in the summer, I would have to go and sit in an entirely different classroom by myself because the air conditioning was on. So I couldn't sit there for 3-4 hours at a time because that cold would settle into my bones and then I'd get a crisis. So I had letters and stuff like that, and I was spending a lot of time by myself in classrooms when it was summertime because I couldn't sit in the cold room with the rest of my peers.
So just want to say good evening to Calvin. Calvin's joined us.
Welcome back.
Apologies. Yeah, I had a power cut.
Oh, yeah, great.
Go live. Everything went off, so we had a brief power cut. I was going to say, you know, when you explained about them not understanding, did they believe you when you explained why you couldn't sit in the classroom with the air conditioning on? And then that would go on to other things like, say, sports, where if it was a cold day and you didn't want to go run outside because obviously, you know.
Yeah, they did. I mean, I obviously had letters from my hematologist, from the community matron. Obviously, each time I'm having to give these letters and say, okay, well, I can't do this, I can't do that. So I think that was one of the solutions for me to be able to obviously stay at college and do the work. And my teacher would come in, you know, occasionally and see how I'm doing. But I think, the letters were helpful in college, and it kind of gave us another alternative rather than me, you know, I can't be in the classroom or I can't study. That was one of the options. But I think that the letters from the doctors and everyone, it was a massive help. Yeah.
But I think it's the fact, unfortunately, it's like they don't believe you until you come with that proof.
Yeah.
It's like you're exaggerating, or it can't be that bad, or why are you being, you know, so difficult? And then obviously when you come with the letters, then it's like, okay, no, she's actually telling the truth.
Yeah.
But it's before they get the letters that it's like, I can't believe I'm having to fight you because I don't want to be outside. Like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, you know, you're not going to die by me being outside. Just let me stay inside. But so I think it's before that, you know, before giving the letters is having to kind of fight to show that you're actually telling the truth.
I think in primary school it's a lot easier.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, as a child, you want to do what your friends are doing. So when it was raining, we weren't allowed outside. There was the teachers would be like, no, there's no way you're going outside.
Yeah.
Because if there is, your parents are going to come in here and blah, blah, blah. So that was obviously, that's not something that you like when you're younger, because you just don't understand, well, why can't I be like everyone else? Yeah. Why can't I do what everyone else is doing? Yeah. So obviously, back in primary school, the teachers were a lot more strict, but obviously as you get to secondary school and stuff like that, I don't think we had that much support in secondary school from our teachers.
They wanted to call the education welfare officer on me, so because there was a time, like, obviously I had like a seizure. I think it was like 2004. So a lot of the time I was in and out of hospital that year with like so many tests and stuff like that. And because I wasn't in school that much that year, they were like, oh, because I did remember getting a letter saying, oh, we're going to call the education welfare officer on you and stuff like that because you haven't been in school so much. And obviously my mum was not happy about that at all. And then my parents obviously tried to, I think once they explained everything, it was fine. But it was just that threat of having, you know, that letter saying, oh, because, you know, almost like I was being truant when I wasn't, I was just not well. But yeah.
So to go along with the topic of today's talk and health inequalities and unconscious bias, the fact that you both had to go to such lengths, and we've all had to do it, to explain ourselves, and the need to almost justify why we should be giving certain considerations in certain areas where others wouldn't have to go to those lengths.
Yeah.
Do you think it's particular to people with sickle cell, that kind of bias, or unconscious? Do you think there is an unconscious bias towards us because of that? And how do you feel having to keep explaining yourself?
There's definitely an unconscious bias, and you know, having to explain yourself, it is so tiring. It's like, you cannot imagine how many times you're having to explain the same thing over and over again to a whole lot of different people. I mean, they see, like, if you come into the hospital, for example, they think, oh, you're just there for the painkillers. There's not really anything wrong with you. If they think, oh, if you don't appear sick enough to them, then it's, oh, well, you don't really need to be here. You've only come here for the drugs, for the medication, when literally that's not even the case at all. It's because we've obviously had it our whole lives. We know how to manage it. So if they don't see it as, you know, you're not screaming and rolling on the floor and flipping tables to get their attention, then they think, well, it's not even that deep. But then if you are flipping tables, you are, you know, shouting, screaming, you need your pain medication, you're being aggressive, you're being this, you're being that, you need to wait, you need to be patient, and
you're not the only one that
I'm exactly after. Like, it's really horrible, and we've both faced it many times.
Okay, do you want next question?
Do you think there's an unconscious bias in attitudes towards blood donation, in particular the Black community?
I think so, yeah. I do think, and I think even, you know, before, obviously, as I'm an adult now, but I think even when I was younger, like, obviously I've been having blood for, you know, maybe for 19 years now. So, but even when I was younger, it's a bit like, obviously I had to take the blood because I needed it. But, you know, it's like, oh, if I died, I don't really want anyone having my organs and stuff like that, because I don't know what they're going to do with it. But now, obviously, as you educate yourself, you get older, you do see, you know, people do have, I know I've heard people being like, oh, but I don't really want to give blood, like, oh, I've got sickle cell trait, so I can't give blood. And it's like, no, yeah, you can give blood. Or like, if something happens, what if, you know, I die, but I have put myself on the register? Will they, or no, like, if I get into an accident and I've been on the organ donation register, will they save me, or they're gonna like make me die so they can harvest my organs? That's what you hear some people saying sometimes, and it's like, no, they're gonna try their hardest to save you because they can't kill you. But obviously, unfortunately, if you do die, then you are helping somebody. But yeah, I do think not that Black people are scared, but I do think they do feel, I don't really want to do that. If it doesn't really affect them directly, then sometimes.
Do you think they're less willing to donate blood?
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
I just, to be honest, I don't know why. I couldn't tell you why, but I just think, maybe I don't know what it could be.
Have you spoken to friends and family about donating, and what has their feedback been to you about?
Well, I've told my brother to donate blood. He said he's going to do it. I think my mum she's a bit cautious about it.
Yeah.
I don't know why. She just thinks, oh no. But
I think
he needs to keep the blood in him or whatever. Like, he's got sickle trait. He doesn't need all of that. That's what she thinks. But yeah.
I lack trust.
Yeah.
I think it's just obviously, like Stephanie was saying, that a lot of, especially within the Black community, is, oh, if it doesn't affect me, that's not really my problem. It doesn't really have anything to do with me. I'm not looking for that trouble, or not even that it's causing any trouble, but that's how they act, as if, you know, as if giving blood is going to make them die, like, it's just going to be such an inconvenience. And it's not the right way to think. It's not, you know, everybody needs help.
Yeah.
And okay, you hear a lot of people saying, oh yeah, I've got a cousin who has that, or my friend's brother's sister's uncle has that.
Yeah.
But still, they don't really know anything about it. They don't really care enough to want to donate, or, you know, spread the word to their family, to their friends to donate, because they don't believe it's their problem.
I think it's also a lack of awareness, and maybe a lack of education as well. You know, to understand how, obviously, you know, giving blood, you know, you donating blood, you're saving 3 people's lives. I think when people hear that, they're like, oh wow, that I didn't actually even know that. And I think maybe sometimes it's, you know, who doesn't want to save 3 people's lives if they can? And I think sometimes I try and tell people, but okay, let's say you got into an accident now, you need blood. If someone didn't donate blood, you wouldn't be alive to receive it. So it's just something to kind of think about, that you never know when you're going to need, you know, the NHS, or you're going to need blood, or you're going to need an organ donation or whatever, just to kind of put yourself in other people's shoes, and just to see, you know, how you can help.
Okay, so having said that, then, do you think, what more can we do? Because we all know, like I said, if it's difficult for us to get our families and friends, because we all of us here receive blood, and it's difficult to get people closest to us to sometimes donate, and they know us and they see what we go through. So then the wider public who doesn't know us, what can we do then to get, especially people in the Black community, over those myths and stereotypes and fears, to say, okay, I will become a blood donor, I will be an organ donor, living or deceased, and you know, and the fact that I'm doing it, I'm helping somebody. What more do you think we can do to get them past that, the point of where they say, I'm not sure, like I said, you know, we've all heard it, I'm not sure what they're going to do with my blood, I don't know who they're going to give it to. You know, I've heard some of the craziest things you could possibly imagine, and I just think, so, well, what do you think they're going to do with your blood? They're going to give it to someone like me who needs it.
Yeah.
But what more do you think we can do to get them to be, for our community to think of it as a norm and to be willing to do it?
I don't know. Like, I think we're doing quite a bit anyway, like with the awareness. Obviously, when I have blood quite a bit, I know people on my Instagram page must be bored seeing me put pictures of my blood transfusions all the time. I do get good feedback sometimes. I know a lot of people who message me, they're like, oh, I donate blood because of you. I donate because I've seen what you go through, and I know if I'm doing that, at least I'm helping somebody else. And I think we are doing what we can, you know, by raising awareness, by obviously, you know, social media posts, talking about it, whether it's going to talks and talking about it as well. I don't know what else we can physically do, because I think we are doing quite a bit. And I guess it's just to keep talking. I know, you know, sounding like a broken record sometimes does get annoying, but I think if we keep talking to people and keep showing them, okay, look, you giving blood, you're not they're not going to die. You're not going to die. They're not going to use your blood for anything other than to help other people. And, you know, maybe keep using ourselves as point of references and, you know, an example saying, okay, your blood, it could be your blood I've got that's in me right now, that's keeping me alive. Or it could be obviously someone else's blood, but we need more of you because we need more blood to survive. I think we're doing enough already, but I don't really know anymore if we can do any more.
So you think if it was highlighted more, blood and organ donation, particularly within mainstream media, so like what we're doing now, so we're on an NHS blood and transport platform, which has never been done before, and like you said, the more we all do the same thing where we post videos and pictures of ourselves receiving treatment, so it becomes a normal for people. Do you think if that was done more often, that would break down some of those barriers?
I think there's the stigma around sickle cell needs to go. I mean, if you take for what's going on in Nigeria right now and how it's spread around the world, the Black Lives Movement spread around the world. This is all affecting Black people. We'll come together to spread awareness about what's going on around in these parts, what's happening to Black men, what's happening to Black women in different parts. But with sickle cell, it just goes amiss. It will happen where our friends and family will probably share a post, and then after that it goes quiet. You don't quite get a national, everybody, you don't get the artists supporting us, you don't get celebrities supporting us. I mean, you'll have celebrities that have sickle cell in their family aren't talking about it. And it's just like, but why? I know that there's quite a lot of stigma and myths going on from the past where sickle cell probably in Africa was classed as a witchcraft or a curse. So there's so many things growing up that they're attached to sickle cell, and I think these need to be broken in the Black community before it can be really pushed out wide, and people will stand up and say, okay, I'm going to actually, without even thinking about it, just say I'm going to support it, not just flick over the post, because I know there's so many people that flick over my post and they don't notice when it affects them personally. And I get tired of talking about it because this is like, you get offended at a point. Because I'm constantly posting, and you will post this nonsense that's going on, absolute nonsense. You will click like on the nonsense joke that I've made, but my sickle cell that's affected me, you see me post pictures of me on a dialysis machine. You see me post pictures in pain. You see me post pictures having blood, but you can't reshare that to help me. You don't have to go and give blood yourself, but share the post. Maybe somebody else will go and give it.
Definitely.
Exactly. What's going on, Black people? You only want to promote and celebrate and support things that give you likes. Giving blood doesn't give you likes, basically. Even though if you give blood, you'll probably save your own life and your mum's life, maybe somebody else that's very close to you that doesn't have sickle cell. Because you don't know what could happen to you tomorrow. You could walk down the road, you need blood. You know what I mean?
It's true, very true.
Even probably push the message past having sickle cell. Knife crime. How are we saving these young Black boys' lives? If they get involved in a stabbing, they need blood, no? So it's a lot more things that probably we need to push with the whole message of sickle cell, but people don't want to hear the sickle cell message. And the way it's going on, we're not aware of our genotypes. More and more people are going to have kids with sickle cell. And is that the point when you're seeing your young child suffer from eye problems, suffer from organ problems, in pain? Is that when you're going to really care? It's like, Black people do better, really, in truth.
They do need to do better. Remember when we was it in, like, we talked in the college, I think, and then the guy was like, oh yeah, no, it's not in my family. And we were like, well, how do you know? No, my mum told me. Okay, but have you been tested? No. So then how do you know you don't have it? Like, you might not, obviously you don't have the illness, but you can carry the trait. You meet someone else, she carries the trait, you both have a baby, and then you get, then there's a 25% chance that your baby has a full-blown illness. Like, it's just the whole thing. Oh no, I don't have it. It can't happen to me. It will never happen to me.
A lot sooner than you thought.
Like, it's always that it can happen to me.
Would you like to explain to people what genotype is, please? Being a midwife.
Oh God, you put me on the spot. So,
okay,
go on, explain it. Much better. Go
on. When you have sickle cell, you have different types of sickle cell. So you have sickle cell SS, sickle cell SC, and sickle cell trait. And within sickle cell, there are actually 300 and 80 something different genotypes, so strains of sickle cell. And then they can actually tell by what strain of sickle cell you have, where in the world you originate from, your ancestors. So by that particular strain, they can actually tell where you come from. So that would be your particular genotype. So, and you can have sickle cell with a thalassemia trait, so you're sickle thal or thal sickle, and you can be an intermediate where you're neither one or the other, and you have a mixture of two. So that would be your genotype. So different genotypes are different strains. So when they've said they've identified the gene of sickle cell, they know what gene it is. But then how would you stop that? It'd be like having a bank of 1,000 light switches in the darkened room and say, okay, to switch one light on, you got to pick one of those. But you don't know what else it would affect, and that's the difficulty. So there would be your genotype. But then going back to what you said about both you, of how it affects and the lack of awareness, does that follow on onto employment as well? And how, because I know you both have had particularly difficulties.
That's a sore subject, Calvin.
A real sore.
Employment. It is. You would think in the NHS that they would be understanding, and it is. You know, when it's like, I cannot believe an institution as big as this is so disappointing. And I know people are going to probably say some really nasty things about me on the internet, but I don't care. Like my immediate manager is the best, and I tell her this all the time because she has fought so much for me. And I think if it wasn't for her, I don't know if I'd still be doing what I'm doing. But other people, it's like they don't want to educate themselves. Even when I did midwifery, I think our lesson, when we did when I was doing undergrad, I think it was like maybe one or two, I don't even think it was 2 sessions about sickle and stuff like that. It was like one session, and it's probably like an hour and a half tops about sickle and all the other like recessive, recessive illnesses. And it was just, it is hard. It is so hard having, obviously, working and, not having people understand you. There's plenty of times, obviously, I've been off sick a lot. And, I've been to HR so many times on stage 1, on stage 2, like sickness meetings and stuff. And it's like, but you guys knew I had this illness. I've never lied from the beginning. Like when you hired me, I already put it there that I have it, and I work in an institution where you would think that it's a health institution, that they would be supportive, but they haven't, except for one person, one manager who has been spectacular, but everyone else, it's not that easy. And I don't know if it's because, not like they don't understand it, maybe they just don't want to understand it, or, how if it was something else, if now someone had, I don't know, cystic fibrosis or something like that, something that maybe affects another demographic a bit more, I don't know if I would get the same treatment that I'm getting now.
That's honest.
Yeah.
I get that.
Okay. I can't speak on the NHS, but as far as retail, no. I mean, I have the amount of retail jobs I've had is actually, it's a large number, because I was always straightforward from the beginning. When I do the applications, I would let them know I have an illness, blah, blah, blah. I'd have a letter to support it, all of that. Everything is all fine and dandy until you call maybe an hour before your shift and say, I'm in a crisis, I cannot come, I'm ill, blah, blah, blah. That's when it all goes left. Oh, why didn't you notify us earlier? I wasn't in a crisis earlier. I thought I would be attending my shift, but I can't because I'm ill. Yeah. After like maybe I'm off for a few days, you come back in the next week and they're just like, yeah, we don't think you're a right fit for this. And, we don't really need any more people and blah, blah, blah. And you're literally looking at them like,
it's the illness.
Yeah, it's definitely the illness. I know it was because I'm off sick. You've actually now seen the reality that there's going to be times I can't be there because of my health, and I'm not going to risk my health and put myself in more pain just to make you happy, just to add money to someone else's business. I'm not going to do that. So I have to put myself first. I have to put my health first. But retail, they do not like that. Nope. They're not interested.
Do you do you class sickle cell as a disability or having a disability?
I do. Yeah, I do. Yeah. It's an invisible one, but yeah, definitely. Because there's times if you're in pain, well, I know I can't walk, I can't move, I don't really want to talk. And I guess that's, that's an aspect of being disabled per se. You can't do things you could normally do, if you have a crisis. Yeah. That's what I feel.
Your employers aware that it's a disability or you have a disability?
Oh my God. They skirt around it. So they're like, oh, you are probably in the Disability Act, or I don't know if it's called Disability Act anymore. I think, but it's the, and then they're like, oh, but we're not sure but it's like, no, it falls under it, but it doesn't, they don't want to say explicitly. So they're always like, yeah, it could, you're more likely maybe, but we don't really want to say that. So yeah, it's hard because you're always like, they always do skirt around the issue. But I know we are.
It does.
Pardon?
You ever explain to them that it actually does fall under the Disability Act?
Yeah, but no.
And that they are supposed to make certain, provide certain facilities for you to make certain provisions to make sure that, one, you're comfortable doing your job, you can do your job and do it safely. And they're supposed to have an understanding of if you're sick, and it's actually illegal, especially if you've told them in advance. It's actually illegal to fire somebody because of their illness, and there's a whole process. So someone coming in and saying, sorry that we have to let you go today, that's actually against the law.
Oh yeah, but they act like it's not because they come up with some excuse when you know that I'm one of your best employees. Me being here, I've made you the most money. So I know it's not that, like I'm a good employee, I work hard, but when they actually see the actual illness, when you're not there to physically, help them and do all of that, then they come up with the excuse, oh, it's not that good and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, they do that because they know they literally can't say, well, we're firing you because of your illness. But yeah, they make excuses. And that's why I can't do retail again. I can't put my physical or mental state at that point again. It was hard. It was hard because I'd come home and it's just, you feel so drained. You're drained, you're sad, you're already in pain. And then now you have to find you have to find another job. What are you gonna do? It's a whole, it's very, very stressful. Yeah.
So can I ask all three of you the same question then? On that topic, the fact that we have what is called a hidden illness, but we each have particular issues that affect us that people just don't see. So Davinia, no one would, if they saw you walking on the street, they say, oh wow, she looks amazing. She definitely doesn't have an issue with organ failure. Steph and Jen, the same thing, where you have particular issues and people wouldn't see that. So having said that, does that impact more the way sickle affects your life? The fact that people only, if they think they just think the pain, that's it. But they don't see other things. And then how does that then, like you said, Steph, Jennifer, affect your mental health and your day-to-day? Start with Davinia.
I think it leaves you isolated because you're constantly having to explain yourself. Just people don't think that, okay, she's not in pain, she's fine. It's the complications of not trying to be in pain, having to stay hydrated. Stress causes pain. Dehydration, being fatigued, having to be aware of what's going on outside if it's cold, your day-to-day life, your schedule, not being overwhelmed. It's so much to it. And then again, when you are affected, I've had eye problems where for periods of the time I would go blind because I've had leaks in my eyes, pain in my hip. So I've been told that I might need a hip replacement in a few years, but oh no, we can't deal with that yet because your kidney's not working. You're on dialysis. So it's sometimes it just feels it's one thing after the other, and you just think, health, what is going on? And it's very hard to talk to people because you've got psychologists who probably had a plain sailing life, nothing's ever happened to them, and then for you to come and tell them all of this stuff that's happened to you, they don't get it. They don't get how you can go through it, still come smiling.
Yeah.
They don't understand that because sickle cell people, we have a very strong belief in God and our faith carries us through.
Yeah.
They don't understand. I've had them look at me like, why are you so positive? Well, this is today. Tomorrow you might see me and you don't want to speak to me because you'll see my face, know I'm in pain and think, whoa, you know what I mean? So it's a daily battle. Today you may be fine tomorrow. And it's living with that you don't know what tomorrow holds.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part. And that's why a lot of sickle cell sufferers suffer from depression, because you can't plan your life accordingly some of the times. You can't say you're going on a holiday. I've had it before where I've had to fork out £400 because I had to change my flight. And it's really hurtful.
Yeah.
And people sometimes they just think, okay, well, you have sickle cell, don't you? They don't get it. And that's the hardest part. Because even if you do talk to your consultants and your doctors, I think a lot of doctors see it on such a regular basis, they become hard to it. So it's not their fault, but if you're seeing something constantly, it's your job, you're not going to really feel it. I've only seen 1 or 2 doctors that it touches them and they understand. It's just like you'll be in so much pain and you're telling them, hello, this pain relief isn't getting to me. It's not doing anything. And they just think, okay, they don't understand the level, the amount of pain you're actually in. Yeah. It's enough to drive anybody crazy. And
exactly.
It's hurtful that you're just looked upon as a druggie. It really does make you lose faith in humanity, really, truthfully.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Steph?
I agree with everything Davinia said. I think it is hard. And do you know what? I think now that I, know that I've got depression and I've seen people, seen psychologists about it, I think life has gotten any easier, because it really hasn't. But also, to the point where I can now realize, oh, this is what's wrong with me. Because before I started seeing like psychologists, I was always not moody, but there'll be days I'm really like great, happy, and then some days I just don't want to get out of bed at all. And I think and I didn't really know what was wrong with me. Like I was like, is this, it's not really sickle related, but I'm just tired and I just can't do anything. Then obviously when I started seeing a psychologist and they were like, oh, these are the symptoms and this is kind of what you have, then it kind of made my life a little bit easier, because then I knew, okay, I can pinpoint what this is. Like, so I know if, I'm in a really, really low mood and I don't want to get out of bed, I know that it's the depression, and I can just stay there, deal with what I need to deal with, and then obviously move on when I start to feel emotionally better. And I just think it's hard because, in life, and I think everybody has, all humans, you need everything to work. So, physically, emotionally, mentally, everything needs to work together for you to live, a great life. And I just think, obviously, it's hard when, I have not holidays, but there has been occasions where, I'm going to go out with my friends, and then it's like, like an hour before, I've had to call my friend and be like, don't come and pick me up today because I'm just not going to be able to come, to the point where she couldn't even go to the thing that we wanted to go to because there's only us 2 going together and she didn't want to go without me. And I felt so bad. Like I was actually like, I'll give you the money back. I will, like, I'm so sorry. I'll make it up to you. And she was just like, it's fine. Like, just, it's not, you can't really help it. But then I know obviously, some people are not as nice as she is. Like, oh, you're always tired, or you're always in pain, or, what gets to me is when people say, oh, you look good. And I'm like, thanks. Like, you knew how hard it was for me to look like this. Like,
yeah, look good compared to what?
Exactly. It's like, oh, you look okay, you don't look tired, you don't think, I'm like, bro, I am always tired. Like, if you knew how I was really feeling, like, you wouldn't really want to talk to me, because it's just like, oh yeah, you look great, so obviously you can't be in pain today because you look great. And I'm like, what kind of backwards thinking is that?
I think as well, like, for sickle cell patients, if you were to turn our bodies inside out, there's nothing about it that looks good. It's not on any type of scale, however you want to weigh it up, nothing looks good. If people actually saw, if we were inside out, if people actually saw us, they would and there would be a lot, I think our illness would be, looked at very differently. You see all the pain, or the bones that aren't working, the arthritis, all of this. That's, so when they say you look good, I'm just like, that's not a compliment to yourself. Thank you very much.
So what about you, Jen? Have you found it difficult and had, like Stephanie said, problems, like say where you're feeling down or feeling depressed as well?
Oh yeah. Yes, I have, for sure. Especially when I went away for uni. So my uni was in Southampton, and obviously that was the first time I've ever been away from home. So having that workload and trying to deal with an illness, then trying to manage a social life and everything, it gets you in a really, really bad state. There'd be sometimes I'd come back from my lectures, whatever, as soon as I close my room door, I am breaking down in tears. I'm tired, I'm overwhelmed. Luckily, the thing with me was my lecturers, like my university, they were really understanding. I sent them multiple letters and everything. They knew absolutely, they had my hospital protocol just in case anything went wrong. They were fantastic. But having that and, having to deal with that and then meeting new people, and you don't want to be like, oh, hi, I'm Jennifer, I'm sick. Like it is so hard. And I struggled a lot at uni, and sometimes I wouldn't come out my room for days. I didn't have energy to do nothing. Like being at home, obviously my parents, my sister, my brother, they can cook you food, help you go to the toilet, go to the shower, everything. Uni, I had to deal with all of it by myself. I'd hardly cook at uni because I didn't have the energy. And because of my degree doing fashion, I'd be doing late night shoots. I'd be working on computer, like editing, doing everything for hours on end. So my body was all stiff and all the pain, and I was lucky because I had a mentor, and I did see a counselor at uni. So that did help. But the thing is, I'm not really like that talkative person. I just want to kind of deal with everything by myself. I don't want to really tell anyone. I feel like, everyone's got their own problems and this and that, and I just don't feel like talking. So a lot of the times I had a lot of silent battles that I was dealing with. But, as soon as I get to uni and see my friend, hey, what's up? Like, it was a very different vibe. But at home, it was, I'm there secretly taking medication and doing all of this just to manage, just to be able to get up in the morning and, do this degree and have somewhat of a normal life.
How do you feel sickle cell affected your friends and your families? What was the effect on them?
I'm lucky. I am really, really lucky. I have amazing friends, friends who are so understanding. Like, it's actually, when it's crazy because I couldn't even believe it. I guess it's even, my problem is obviously trying to find a significant other, because that is where the problem is. It's like men don't want to be with someone who has sickle cell, but that's another topic for another day. But family, no.
We'll get to that one.
Family is.
Remember, I got to vet them as well.
Yeah, I know, Calvin. Like, crazy. Yeah. But yeah, no, family's great. Friends are great. Sometimes I do feel that, and I have said it a couple of times, sometimes I do feel like I'm a burden on my friends. And they're like, no, you're not. Because sometimes it just feels like, all the time, maybe we go out and I'm fine when we've started going out. But then like halfway through the night, I don't feel well anymore. And then I'm obviously having to take a lot of medicine. Then I start to get drowsy. Then I start to get, tired. And it's like, I'm almost putting a dampener on the night. But then they're like, no, as long as you're here with us, we're happy. But sometimes I do feel bad sometimes. And I'm trying to, teach myself to stop feeling like that. But yeah, family, I think with me and Jen, I think we're quite lucky that we're quite close. And so we kind of look out for each other, advocate for each other.
With our brother as well.
Yeah, he's amazing.
He's absolutely, like, we're literally the three musketeers. we're everywhere together. We do everything together, and it's insane. We're insanely close. It doesn't even make sense. Like, that's just how we are. But it's great to have, an amazing, like, support system.
Yeah.
But as, like, for me, as far as friends, I don't really, it was, yeah. But as in, like, with my family, like my brother, my sister, my parents, it's great.
Like you, Davinia?
I was going to say, why is it so important for the blood to be matched? Why is it so important that Black people actually go out and give blood?
Because we need it, in as simple as possible. Obviously, you need, the closest match to you for it to be a great match. Like, and it's really important to give blood. Obviously, you're saving lives by doing so. But yeah, like, you know, certain people have different, you know, blood groups and specific blood types. And if, you know, like for Jen, you can't have blood. She can't have blood that easy. She's got antibodies, and so she would obviously need like special blood from like, and you know, immunoglobulin and stuff like that.
Yeah, I had a transfusion reaction in 2016. It was actually when I started uni, and obviously I was just feeling really tired and stuff like that. So my hematology team thought it'd be a good idea for me to have some blood and see how it goes, blah, blah, blah. It did not go well. I mean, I was in intensive care for a week and everything. It was, yeah.
From having the wrong blood?
Do you know, I don't know. They didn't actually say that, but it could be. It could, I'm not actually sure, but it was really bad. And now I can't, if like when I was going to uni, so the hospital in Southampton, I would have to go with all my documents, make sure that if they even wanted to give me blood, you have to speak with my doctor first. There's nothing else that you're gonna do, but you have to speak to my team first. So it was, I mean, it could have been from, you know, the not having the best match, but it was, it was really bad. And now I can't have transfusions that easily. It would be it'd be a life or death situation, basically. Like, can't touch that right now. Yeah.
Because I had a friend in a similar situation who had particular reactions, so built up particular antibodies that meant that she couldn't have blood except for her own. And I've had myself lots of reactions, and you explain to people like you said why it's important to have blood, and you say to people, okay, it's not like the films where you can just walk up to someone, stick a needle and say, you know what, can I have a couple of pints of
yes, not like that.
You have to be race specific, type specific, and it has to be a 99.9% match. And every time people understand, every time we have blood, we have to have a cross match beforehand. So they have to cross match the blood as perfectly as possible, because you build up antibodies. Each time you have blood, you build up antibodies from the previous blood donor, so they have to match. So then, to avoid situations like that, so if it's not as close as match as possible, it doesn't take much to have a reaction. And you know,
how many
and you explain to people, it's not good.
How many units you have?
I have 10 to 11 units every 3 to 4 weeks.
Wow. And that's
yes.
Yeah, and that's automated. That's on a machine. So previous to this, I used to have it manual blood, where they just had a needle in each arm, and that was 5 units every week.
Every week.
So every week. So I have like huge iron overload at the moment. So so your normal iron and ferritin level would be, for an average person, between 50 and 150. Actually, I was told yesterday.
What's yours?
Mine is 4,500.
Mine's 7,000.
See, and so when you say to people that, and they say, but then why do you have blood?
Yeah,
that's what it's doing to you. And it's like, okay, so catch-22. If I said to you, you had a choice, iron overload or not living in crisis, which one would you choose? It's like,
iron overload.
They say, but iron overload then affects you, because it builds up your heart, your lungs, your liver. It'll lead to your death. But then it's a catch-22.
Yeah, it is.
People don't understand that, and that's one reason why I want this, because people don't understand what it is to be sickle cell. It's doing the things that people do and take for granted. Doing it with one hand and one leg tied behind your back. Doing it where if they knew, like I said, where you just go to the shop and you're not feeling well, you have to load up on morphine or whatever it is, just to pop to the local shops. And what a strain that is. And when, like I said, when someone says, "Oh, you look great," and you're thinking, I don't feel particularly great. So I woke up today and just downed a couple of pills before I even got off the bed.
Exactly, definitely.
And people don't understand that. And we have to make choices every single day. That you're thinking, okay, so if I do this, it's going to affect me. But if I don't do it, it's still going to affect me. So what do I do?
It's true.
And I say to people, but we still wake up with a smile. Most of us are happy people. We really enjoy lives, and sicklers will actually go further than most people. Most sicklers I know are risk takers and will go out there and live it to the fullest.
Yeah, because we know how fleeting it is. We know how fragile it is, and we know that 1 minute, you're fine, the next minute you're in pain, and it's, it's crazy. Like me, obviously, I'm having blood to not have another stroke because I don't want another stroke. Because if I do get another stroke, I might not survive as much as, there might be a lot more lasting damage than there is now. But it's like, obviously, they're giving me blood to sort out one problem, but then having the blood has now created another problem. And it's like, and that's how it always is, you fix one thing, but then with that thing, you've now created another thing, and then you have to keep fixing that. And then it's going to be like, it's like a domino effect.
Like with me not even having having transfusions, with the obviously bad transfusion that I had, it set off a chain reaction of problems. Like earlier this year, I had like problems with my kidney. Oh my gosh, there's been so much. Like this year alone, I think I've been admitted maybe 20 times now. The last 4 years it's been really, really difficult, and I don't even have blood. But I mean, it's hard. It's hard, and people don't understand. They don't get it. And even the people who are meant to be looking after you, the nurses, the doctors, some of them are just so trash. They just don't understand how they've read about it, but they don't know how badly it affects you, how what you're going through is so, you just wake up some days and you're just like, no, I'm checking out. I don't want to do this anymore. This is too much. This pain is overwhelming. But people still, they get onto you and they believe that, oh, well, you have to act a certain way. If you don't have like positive thoughts, then how is everything going to be great? And, just think positively. Positive is not going to take away my pain. Like, it's not going to heal me. There's no magic wand I can wave. It's
not really, the morphine in my pocket is going to take away the pain. Positive thinking will maybe put a smile on my face, but it's doing nothing for my pain.
Exactly, that's literally it. So when people say it, I'm just like, keep it to yourself. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it because positive anything isn't going to work right now. What I need is some hard medication and rest. That's what I need, and obviously a good support system.
Do you find your health is getting more challenging as you get older?
I didn't realize how, like, do you know what? When I had the stroke and the seizures when I was like a teenager, I didn't go into hospital again. So maybe I think I was like, the last time I was in hospital was like when I was 15. Then I think I went in once, but that was like a A&E thing when I was like 17. I didn't go again into hospital till I was like 24 as an inpatient. So I had like 8 years of not just going in for my blood and having my appointments, and that was fine. But then since 24, I had a really bad infection. And I was there for a while, and then so that was one off. Then it got to like 2016. I think it was both. Yeah, that year was just not good for both of us.
Everything went down.
Ever since 2016, we have been in hospital. For me, it's been like 6 or 7 admissions a year. So yeah, it has gotten worse, and can't even speak. It has gotten worse as I've gotten older.
I think they tell you that when you're younger, like obviously, having sickle cell is going to get worse when you get older, but you're just thinking at that point, you're thinking, how much worse is it going to get? Like, can you give me a clue? What can I do to make it better? But you don't actually realize how hard it's going to be until you start getting older. Like I was diagnosed with osteoarthritis at 25. Who do you know that has arthritis at 25 if they don't have sickle cell? It's so, I've got, problems with my hips. It's honestly so bad. Like I have the bones of an 8-year-old, but people, they don't get that. And they think, oh, well, because you look fine, there's nothing wrong with you. Not knowing that inside I'm dying.
That is true. And I think I'm grateful for the blood, because I know if I wasn't having blood, I would be in hospital as much as my sister is. Like I know we would probably be competing for who's going to be admitted the most in a year, because I know when I don't have blood, I know what my sickle, my pain is like, and it's quite frequent. So I'm grateful for the blood, because it's given me a bit of an opportunity to I'm obviously doing my master's now, and I don't know why I decided to do that to myself. But I think, pardon?
You're brilliant. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. But I think it's because, you know, obviously having the blood has given me an option to kind of live, you know, have an all right life.
A better life.
Yeah, a better life than what, you know, I would have had if I didn't have the blood.
Yeah.
What would you say to someone watching this that is thinking of giving blood? What would you say to someone watching this that's thinking of giving blood?
Please give it. I need it. Like, no, just, you know, as you know, when you donate, you're saving 3 people's lives, and it's like, it's really, really beneficial. And they do, you know, it is safe, and they're not going to use your blood for anything other than helping people. And yeah, please. And we're grateful for, you know, what you've done so far, but it'll be really beneficial because you never know who's going to need the blood at the end of the day. Could be your mum, could be your, you know, your relative, your child, whatever. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Thank you, guys. It's been really good. Yeah. So, I would like to say to people watching, the fact that you're watching this and you're watching 4 people who've all benefited and who continue to benefit from blood and organ donation, and especially within the Black community. And if you don't think it's important, okay, this in of itself should be a wake-up call to say to you, look, it is important. Davinia has her own business. Stephanie is doing a master's degree in midwife. Jennifer is a fashion graduate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And I can honestly say, and to think that if someone hadn't taken the time to give blood on a regular basis, okay, people wouldn't be here to do the things that they're doing. I'm a father and grandfather, okay, and it's like, and you say it's utmost important, especially within our communities, that we think, okay, yeah, it's not just about us, it's about helping someone else. And like you said, if someone close to you you love needed an organ or blood donation, would you give it?
Yeah.
No, you'd have no problem giving it.
Yeah.
So you should have no problem giving it to someone who you don't know. You're just doing a good deed. You're doing something to benefit everyone, and that should be, you know, that in of itself should make you wake up with a smile on your face.
Exactly. Can I just say, with organ donation, my thing is, if you would accept an organ, if you needed one, then please be willing to stay opted in and give. You can't take them with you. They're only gonna, so please do stay opted in.
And the fact that the driver's license means you have to, new driver's license means you have to opt out. I beg everyone not to opt out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Saving someone dear to you, you never know.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
You live on.
Thank you guys for doing this.
It's all right.
It's been a pleasure, been a blast, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
It's all right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. It's been really good.